Hello everyone, this is a video tutorial for your polygonal portrait project. You're going to be making a portrait or an animal or an object, and you're going to take an actual photograph, and then you're going to do this effect where you select with the polygonal lasso tool, you select the picture and then you use a filter to make it blur like this. And it becomes like a geometric flat object, which is super popular. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay. And you guys also can use your own car. This student here uses actual photograph. So it could be something taken from the internet, or it could actually be one of your own photographs as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So you're first going to get your picture, okay, and before you get started, I would say go ahead and just look at what polygonal portraits look like to give you an idea. And this has been very popular the last probably 5-6 years. So there's a lot to look at. Okay. And then if you're looking at faces, or maybe you want to do more of a geometric style here, and then there's some animals in here as well. Some really gorgeous pieces of work. Okay, so like this is gorgeous. So anyway, super excited. This project I did not do last year, and all my students told me the year before that this was one of their favorite projects. So I'm bringing it back to you because I think that you will really enjoy doing it. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to go to Google Chrome and go to images. You're going to type the word. So I'm just going to say hummingbird. So type it in the search and then go. Okay, and then once you get it pulled up, because we are taking someone's photograph, unless it's yours, then you don't have to worry, right? If it's your photograph, you don't need to worry. But if we're using somebody else's photograph, we need to make sure that we can use it, okay? So first thing you're going to do is come to settings and go to advanced search. After you go to advanced search, right now, all those pictures that you saw were not filtered by license. So everything that you saw there, and that's going to be, a ton of pictures because none of them have been filtered. So what you have to do is go to this drop down, and then you can just go down to one. Okay, since you're a student and you're learning, and you're not going to be selling it or putting it in books or calendars or anything like that, you can go free to use or share. Okay, and then hit advanced search. Okay, and if you're in Google Chrome, then remember how I showed you how to bring your picture up. So I'm just going to, of course, go, find a picture that will be good for this project. And then you're going to take it and you're going to drag it up, drop it in there, because you want to get a high resolution image. Okay, and here's all sizes. Okay, this picture right here is 280 by 180. That's way too small. So I would say go to at least start at medium. And right now this is 1000 by 700, which would probably work. But I'm going to go back one and I'm going to go to large. I just don't want you to pick something that's like 5000 by 5000 because of course your computer will run too slow. So I am going to, let's see if I go to this one here. And then also remember, you can't just take this one and drag it onto your desktop. You actually have to go to the website, okay, and you can get it from the website. So this bird is called Anna's hummingbird. That's the actual name. So I'm just going to right click and save image as. Okay, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. Okay, after you save it, and sometimes these pictures, this is just like trial and error. You have to just go through and make sure. I had another one here just in case it didn't work. Okay, so now you're going to go into Photoshop and you're going to go File, Open, find it on your desktop. Okay, and then there it is. Okay, and then unlock it. And I highly recommend for you to make a duplicate copy, Command J. Okay, and then that way you have an extra copy. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to select your object subject portrait. You're going to select it, and you're going to remove it from its background. Okay, so this is a super easy one because there's nothing on the background besides just a green color. So it's going to be super easy. I'm just going to do this super fast with you right now. So come over here to your selection tools, and I'm just going to do a quick selection tool because this is going to be easy. I'm going to go select subject. Okay, it's processing right now. And you can see that it does not, Photoshop thinks that this is not a part of the subject. So what I'm going to do, grab my plus brush, and I'm going to knock that up. Okay. And then right now, this is super easy. I'm just going to Command J. Okay. And because of that, there it is. Okay. So because I did Command J, whatever was selected on this layer was then just duplicated and put on this layer without the background. Okay, so now I have my picture without a background, but then I also have the original one down here and then an extra copy here. Okay, so this was super easy for me to show you. So I'm actually going to go to the let's see, to the seahorse, because the seahorse is definitely harder, right? Because the colors are in the seahorse and then the same colors are in the background. So this one's harder to select. And we're actually going to do this picture in class. We're going to work on it together. So that way you can practice in class before you actually go to your before you go to your picture. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to first come here and we're going to go get the selection tool. Now, some of you, could use the lasso, polygonal, magnetic, and some of you are really good. Let me hit escape. Some of you are really good with the pen tool. And if you're really good with the pen tool, you could use the pen tool and go around and select your subject with the pen tool. But that's if you already know how to use it and you're good with it, then you can do that. Okay. But until you get to that point, we're just going to use the quick selection tool. Okay, so, and then also I want to let you know, we will be using the pen tool in future projects. So you will practice with that, okay? So first thing we're going to do is make sure sample all layers is checked, and we're going to just do select subject. Okay, so right now it's selecting it, but Photoshop is a little confused about what it's selecting. So it's just really looking at colors, right? And it believes that this is a subject and that this is not. Okay, so Photoshop is doing a really excellent job right now detecting these objects. So, it's so much easier than it was in the past. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to come up here. So for a complicated picture that you're going to select, I would say after you do that, instead of coming back between the plus and minus, let's just go up here and go to select and mask. Okay. Now I've not showed this to you before because we didn't really do anything complicated. So right now, because this is a complicated object to select, we're going to use this. Okay. So I want to show you, this is onion skin, marching ants, overlay, on black, on white, black and white. So right now, this is what the marching ants is selecting, everything that's in white. Okay, and then on layers. So I'm going to show you what I like to use. Now, some people will prefer using onion skin or prefer doing it like this or however you want to do it. So I'm just going to do marching ants because that's something that you know right now. So I'm going to keep it on marching ants. And then I'll talk about all these selections over here. You just have to practice. But basically, because I'm on marching ants, I want to get let's see, what do I want to do? I want to come up here. And this is just the quick selection tool. So this is the refine edge tool, brush tool, object selection tool. This is the lasso tool. Okay. So because I'm using the marching ants, I'm going to come up here to my brush and I'm going to add to my selection. So I'm just going to make my brush size a little bit bigger and I'm just going to push this up. Okay. And let's see right now, what does that do? So right now it's already done a really excellent job. I'm going to zoom in and show you some things that I like to use. So right now, everything looks pretty good. Let's see, push that out. Okay, now, oh, needs to be pushed out there. Okay, and then there's some areas here that it's not selecting, but at first thing, before I do that, I actually want to show you right down here, it needs to be refined, okay? So what I wanna do is I'm gonna come to the lasso tool. Now up here, it shows you that if you want to add to your selection or subtract from your selection. So basically, I want to subtract this. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to take my lasso tool and I'm just going to draw right here. Okay, and now it just subtracted it. Okay, and then let's say I want to add to this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do that, okay? And now it's adding anything that I want to add, and I'm just using my lasso tool for that, okay? And then you can go around and see if there's anything. Let's see, I want to add to that. Let's see, I want to take that away. Let's see, I don't want that in there. Oh, let's see. Let me come up here and, oh gosh, nope. Let's go to the plus. Okay, and then if it's too much, I can keep going back and forth, okay? I don't want to take forever for this video, so I'm just going to, okay, so let's see, what do we have now? Okay, if I zoom in, oh, and then also notice with your, when you're on black and white, you can come back here to your paintbrush and I can make a better selection with that. So let's, okay. And we're going to practice this in class. We're all going to do this seahorse in class. So that way you guys get good practice. Okay. So right now it looks pretty good. And I'm happy with it. Okay. So I'm going to now come down here and I'm going to hit OK. And we could talk about this later on. You can do smooth, feather, contrast for your projects in the future, but for a polygonal portrait, you do not want smooth or feather on here, okay? So you do not want that, okay? Hit OK. So right now, it's still selected on my layer. So right now, I have my marching ants here. I'm just going to Command J. So now it duplicated the selection, but it got rid of the background, okay? Because it was only selecting the seahorse, okay? So we're good to go. So now we're going to actually start the actual process of painting it, okay? So that's what you want to do. Now, I already have this set up for this video, so I want to show you when you when you duplicate your image and it's on its own background, you want to call that layer your working layer, okay? So you want to call it your working layer, okay? And you could see I already started this for you. And then the best thing I find is actually making new layers underneath your working layer. So that way you can see it, okay? So I have, so let me just close this out. So if I was, let me just turn that. So if I had done that and I turn that off, okay, I would go ahead and come to this layer here. I would make a new layer. I would make sure I have my D key set up for black and white. So the shortcut for foreground is Option Delete. Okay, and then I would make another new layer. And then I would have white on this one. So the shortcut for filling with background color is Command Delete. Okay, and that way if you have it on black and white, you can see how your selection looks, okay? If it's on a transparent background, sometimes it's confusing, okay? So now I'm just going to come back down here and show you again what we're working on, okay? So now you want to get started. So what you're going to do, let me just see, let me turn that on. Okay, so this is, remember to call your layer your working layer. Okay, I'm just going to close this out for now until I can come back and show that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to, this project, we are actually selecting values and colors. Okay, so I'm going to move my object here, okay? And what we're going to do, we're going to come here to the Polygonal Lasso tool. We're using the Polygonal Lasso tool because we want to make triangles, okay? And we're going to just go ahead and we're going to start selecting colors, okay? So I'm just going to come here. Let me just show you something. If I do a really big selection like that, okay? Now, when you come to select, make sure you first go to modify. I have to make sure that your selection tool is ready for this project. So I want you to come down here to feather, make sure you only have one here. Okay, come down here to contract, make sure it's only one. Okay, make sure expand is only one. Okay, make sure smooth is only one. Okay, and then don't touch border. Okay, so right now my selection is ready to go. I'm going to come up here to filter. I'm going to go to blur and I'm going to go to average. Okay, so right now, Photoshop, the filter tool believes that all of those colors that were inside that selection, it made the average color. So the average color is that color. Okay, so I want you to notice that color. Okay, I'm going to deselect, I'm going to undo that. Now, if I stay closer to my blue, okay, and I come there, this is a smaller selection. I only have blue. I don't have this yellow over here in it. Now, if I come up here and I go filter and I go to blur average, it's going to make it blue. Okay, so you are going to get the hang of it. We're going to actually practice this with this seahorse in class, so that way you understand how to do this before you actually start on your own. Now, once you start doing this, you can come filter average and then do Command D. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just keep selecting. Okay, filter average, then Command D, and then just be careful what you're selecting. Okay, filter average, Command D. And we're going to actually make an action for the first time with this project, because all we're going to be doing is the same thing over and over again. And there's an actual shortcut for speeding that up. So filter average. Oh, shoot, I did the wrong thing. I didn't have a selection tool. So make sure that you select your thing before you hit filter average. And then filter average. Okay, Command D. Okay, so you can see that right now this is becoming diluted colors because I'm doing really big sections. And because of that, it's making this color. So you need to be careful with that. But you don't want to be making teeny tiny triangles, because then the viewer doesn't even see that there has been any change. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in class as well. So let me come back to my picture that I was working on before, and you can see that I was doing a better job selecting my pixels, okay? And I'm going to continue working on it down here. And let's keep going. So I'm going to go back to my Polygonal Lasso tool, and you really want to try to only make triangles, because that's a much better look, because it has hard edges and it's a it becomes more, I guess, dimensional when you do that. So try to stick with only triangles. Now, some people like to put a grid on and then they work with the grid. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. And if you are interested in putting a grid on, then I want you to come here to view, and you're going to come down here and you're going to say grid. And then if you want a smaller grid, so right now, do you see the grid is bigger over here? But then on my actual object, you can see these little white lines here. And I have this, I actually changed this in my preferences. So if you want something like that where you work with lines or a grid and you have it snapped to the grid, then you're going to come over here to file. Let's see. Actually, what do I want to do? Go over here. Sorry, preferences. And you want to go to guides, grid, and slices. And then I changed this down here. I think I changed this to 2, and I changed it from inches to centimeters. Okay. And I think everything else stays the same. So grid line every 2 centimeters, subdivisions 4. Okay. And then I already did that. So I'm just going to hit cancel since I already have it. And if you want to turn the grid on and off, you just do Command H, turns it off, Command H, turns it on. Okay, so you can try using a grid, and if you have snap, you can snap it to the grid lines, and I'll also show you a video in class that works that way. Okay, so that's how you do that. I'm just going to turn mine off. Okay, and I'm going to continue. Just go ahead and making these so you get the idea. So remember, Polygonal lasso tool, you're going to come up here, filter average. Okay, continue doing that. Okay, until all of your picture is completed. Filter, average, Command D. Now, there is a shortcut for doing this project, okay? And this is something we have never done before. So I'm going to show it to you now, okay?